when it comes to roles that are not necessarily technical, would you embed them into those end-to-end ML teams, like project managers or subject matter experts, or is it just plain data scientists?
So some of it was landed on the shoulder of the data scientist team, is to like partner who they're partnering with, right? And so they were generally partnering with someone within the organization, in which case, you could say, collectively between the two, they're product managing something. So we didn't have explicit product manager roles. I think at the scale when Stitch Fix started to grow, it was really like project management was a pain point of like, how do we bring that in? Who does that? Right. So it really depends on the scale of kind of the product is what you're doing, what it's touching, as to like whether you start to need that. Definitely something that the org was thinking about, when I was still there, is like, how do you structure things to run more efficiently and effectively, and like, how exactly do you draw the bounds of a team delivering machine learning? So if you're working with the inventory team who's managing inventory in a warehouse, for example, what is the team structure there was still being kind of shaped out. Right when I was there, it was very separate, but they had they worked together, but they were different managers, right, kind of reporting to each other, but they worked on the same initiative. So worked well when we were small. You'd have to ask someone there now as to like, what's happening, but otherwise, I would say, depends on the size of the org, company, and importance of the machine learning initiative.
And I wanted to ask about monitoring of the models on production, making them alive, because it sounds like pretty similar to software space. Okay, like data scientists are here, would be software engineers. ML platform team can be thought as DevOps team. What about SREs, people who are making sure that it is alive? And how did it work? And
with model envelope, and we provided deployment for free. So that meant the data scientists, you could say, the only thing they were responsible was for the model. And we tried to structure things in a way that, like, hey, bad models shouldn't reach production because we have enough of a CI validation step that, like, the model shouldn't be an issue. And so the thing that would break in production is infrastructure changes, in which case the data scientist isn't responsible and capable for. But otherwise, so it was our job to kind of, like, my team's responsibility. I think we were on call for something like over 50 services, because that's how many models were deployed with us, and we were frontline. So we were frontline precisely because most of the time, if something was going to go wrong, it was likely going to be something to do with infrastructure. So we were first point. But like, they were also on the call chain, or at least, like, when we I'll step back. When any new model was deployed, we were both on call, just to make sure that it deployed and it was running initiative. But then it would slightly bifurcate as to, like, okay, we would do the first escalation, because if it's infrastructure, you can't do anything. But otherwise, you need to be on call, because if the model is actually doing some weird predictions, we can't fix that. In which case, you're the person who has to, like, help debug and diagnose it.
Sounds like something with data, right? Data drift.
Data drift, something upstream, etc. And so this is where better model observability and kind of data observability helps. So trying to capture and use that. There's many different ways, but the nice thing with what we had set up is that we were in a good position to be able to capture inputs at training time, but then also, because we controlled the web service, and what were the internals, we could actually log and emit things that came in. So then we could, we had pipelines then to kind of build and reconcile. So if you want to ask the question, is there training serving skew? You as a data scientist or machine learning engineer didn't have to build that in. You just had to turn on logging in your service. And then, we had turn on some other configuration downstream. But then, we provided a way that you could, push it to an observability solution to then, compare production features versus training features.
Sounds like provided very comfortable interface for your data scientists.
Yeah, that's the idea. So truth be told, that's kind of what I'm trying to replicate with DagWorks, right? Provide the abstractions to allow anyone to have that experience we built at Stitch Fix. But So data scientists hate migrations, and so part of the reason why to focus on an API thing is to be able to, if we wanted to change things underneath from a platform perspective, we wouldn't be like, hey, data scientists, you need to migrate, right? And so that was also part of the idea of why we focus so heavily on these kind of API boundaries, is so we could also make our lives simpler, but then also theirs as well.
And can you share how big was the team of data scientists and ML platform team when it comes to number of people?
I mean, like it was around, I think at its peak was like 150 was total data scientists and platform together.
And the split was 1 to 10?
So it was so we had a platform team. I think it was like either 1 to 4 or 1 to 5 total, because we had a whole platform team that was helping with UIs, a whole platform team focusing on the microservices and kind of online architecture, right? So not pipeline related, and so and so there was more, you could say, work required from an engineering perspective, from like integrating like APIs, machine learning, other stuff in the business. So like the whole the actual ratio was 1 to 4, 1 to 5, but that's because there was a large component of the platform team that was helping with doing more things around building platforms to kind of help integrate, debug, machine learning recommendations, etc.
But what were the sizes of end-to-end machine learning teams? Probably not 100 people in the single team.
No. So they were, as I said, it kind of varied. Like 8 to 10. Some teams were that large, others were 5, right? So really, it really depended on the vertical and kind of who they were helping with respect to the business. So you can think of it roughly almost scaled on the modeling. So we were in the UK, Statistics was in the UK and the US, and then there were different business lines. There was men's, women's, kind of kids, right? And so there was, you could think of like potentially data scientists on each kind of combination, right? So it really depended where that was needed or not. But anywhere from like teams of 3 to like 8 to 10.